This little boy has been missing not just a few days or weeks or even months. That boy's been missing for years. And it's only now that his disappearance is coming to light.
Welcome or welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. Before we get into the story, I just quickly wanted to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, CyberGhost VPN. Now, have you ever used public Wi-Fi networks and felt totally vulnerable and unprotected? It's a scary thing, because data breaches and malware infections are just one click away from making you lose all your important personal data. But with CyberGhost VPN, you can put your mind at ease and start shielding your identity from online predators today. Once your account is enabled via their handy app, CyberGhost immediately starts transmitting your data through a secure encrypted tunnel, which gives you a high level of online anonymity and military-grade security. You can step up your cybersecurity without falling behind on your internet speed. A VPN with CyberGhost can also allow you to view the normally regionally blocked online libraries of over 40 streaming networks like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Disney, and more. You can use one subscription to protect yourself and enjoy online freedom without restrictions on up to 7 different devices at once. CyberGhost VPN service checks virtually every single box in cybersecurity that you can imagine and would need. Plus, it's compatible with most operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS, and Android. CyberGhost VPN has more than 38 million users, and they have an excellent score on Trustpilot.com. Their services also only have a monthly price of $2.03 with 4 months free. It's simply one of the best VPN service providers that helps keep you and your data protected. So act quickly by clicking the link in the description box below and using my special code to sign up for CyberGhost VPN and start protecting your data today. They also have a 45-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support, so everything is risk-free. Now, the story I have for you today is one that very much reminds me of the Harmony Montgomery case. However, no one has yet been arrested in connection with the disappearance of this little boy, who was just recently reported as missing, though it's confirmed that he has now actually been gone for 5 years. This is the story of Hayden Manis. Hayden Ian Lee Manis was born on May 19, 2015, to his father, Gary Manis, and his mother, Terry Williams. He was a happy and sweet kid who liked to go playing at the park and skateboarding. Hayden wanted to be a firefighter when he grew up, and one of his favorite things to do was help his grandfather when fixing his car, as well as helping him fix other items around the home. When the little boy was just a year old, in 2016, his mother and father lost custody after a drug test showed that they had been using cocaine. That same year, police had also found Hayden and his father in a motel room that was littered with drug paraphernalia and heroin baggies. Once he was removed from his parents' care, Hayden went to live with his grandfather, Gary Manis, whom he affectionately called Pawpaw. And the two quickly grew close. There, Hayden was happy and well taken care of. But a year and a half later, around the time that Hayden was about to turn 3, his father, Dustin, completed his court-ordered probation as well as his drug treatment and counseling. So a judge had granted Dustin custody back of his son Hayden and ordered that he be returned to his father immediately. Hayden's mother, Terry, was still incarcerated at this time. So Child Services had agreed with the court that Dustin should get custody of his son back. But Dustin's father, Gary, did not. According to him, he had told Child Services that his son, Dustin, was a drug addict and begged them not to give Hayden back. Gary had also tried to say this during the court hearing, but according to him, he was not allowed to speak. And since Dustin had done exactly what the courts had asked of him, they returned Hayden. So for a while after that, in 2018 and in 2019, Dustin would take his son to visit with Gary and the rest of the family from time to time. But after a fight between Dustin and Gary, those visits got farther and farther apart. Then they stopped altogether after a Christmas get-together in 2019. And even though Hayden's relatives would text Dustin inviting the father and son to family gatherings, Dustin would tell them that he would try to make it, but then never show. His family said that they tried at least once a month to see Hayden and his father, but to no avail. Then, in August of 2021, Dustin would inform his Aunt Barb that he was moving out of town. He also said that he was happy and doing really well. Dustin then told his aunt that he would try to attend the next family Christmas get-together, but that would never end up happening. Soon, Dustin stopped replying to the family's text messages altogether, which greatly worried them. In Dustin's final text message to his Aunt Barb in May of 2023, he said, "Hey Aunt Barb, I promise on everything all is well. I promise you. I've just been having a lot going on. Try to work on my family that I am making and whatnot. I appreciate you reaching out and checking, but I'm just doing what I promised my mom I'd do when she was on her deathbed. And that was look out for what makes me happy and doing whatever it may be to keep myself happy. I'm doing good and I'm doing right. And I'm working on making the family I've always wanted." So over time, his family had grown accustomed to not seeing or hearing from Dustin and Hayden, choosing to believe that Dustin was just simply too busy or no longer wanted to see them. But that changed a few months ago in September of 2024, when Hayden's two great-grandmothers met at a grocery store in Muncie and began discussing the boy. One of the great-grandmothers said that Dustin had told her a few years ago that he had lost custody of Hayden to child services. This was news to the other great-grandmother, so she immediately went home and called up Gary, telling him that something was not right and she was worried about the boy. Gary was then said to have reported it to CPS the very next day. At the same time, another family member called the police and asked them to check up on Hayden. When this welfare check was performed, police would find Dustin, but his son was nowhere to be seen. And the father would not tell detectives the truth about where Hayden was either. He first said that Child Protective Services had taken Hayden away in 2022, which authorities knew was not the case. Then, Dustin attempted to tell officers that the little boy had gone back to living with his mother, but they knew that that also was not true. Even though the last time family claims to have seen Hayden was at a Christmas gathering in 2019, investigators have said that they believe the last time that Hayden was seen was sometime in 2020, though they have yet to be able to pinpoint an exact date. So 5 years. Now, even though Dustin did not have a good answer as to where Hayden was, he was not arrested yet at that point. This would change a few months later in November when he was pulled over for a traffic violation. According to the officer, Dustin appeared very nervous, almost to the point of fear. The father admitted that he'd recently been questioned by law enforcement in regards to his missing son Hayden. During this traffic stop, officers would find heroin and a syringe in Dustin's pocket and some methamphetamine in a cigarette box. He was arrested and charged with possession of a narcotic drug, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of paraphernalia. Dustin would spend a few weeks in jail before one of his grandmothers came to his rescue and bonded him out. Then, just a few days after that, on December 15th, 2024, Dustin fatally overdosed. So now the police's main person of interest in regards to Hayden's disappearance was gone. They have said that they are still hopeful that there are others out there that have information in regards to the boy's whereabouts. The search for Hayden has since taken authorities to various locations, and there have even been searches done using cadaver dogs. One of the places that has been searched is a home along East Nancy Lane in Muncie, where Dustin and Hayden were believed to have lived with Dustin's ex-girlfriend, Crystal Hall, and her family. When police were at the house, they would search the inside as well as the backyard. They also removed several items from the home, including a piece of flooring from one of the bedrooms. Investigators also went out to a home in Eaton, where Dustin was said to have lived periodically as recently as last year. Several interviews were additionally conducted with Dustin's ex-girlfriend Crystal and her father, who had lived in the home where they searched. Interestingly enough, since authorities' investigation started into Hayden's disappearance, Crystal and her father have sold their home and moved out of state. But according to the father, this move had been planned long before he and his daughter started speaking with police. And they have both been cooperative with investigators, yet they know nothing about Hayden's whereabouts or disappearance. Though that's not what one woman named Lisa Green, whose aunt was previously married to Dustin's father Gary, has said. She has come out publicly saying that Dustin admitted in a recording at the time that he had been arrested on his drug charges that he had killed his son Hayden, and his ex-girlfriend Crystal knew all about it. According to Lisa, Dustin and Crystal had tortured Hayden by putting him in hot baths, hitting him with dog chains, starving him, and putting him inside a dog cage. Then, when he got so bad that he was clearly close to death, losing all bodily functions, Dustin and Crystal argued about what to do with him. Lisa continued by saying that Dustin dragged his son out of the dog cage, lifted him up into the air, and slammed him into the ground, killing him. Then, he and Crystal put Hayden's body into the closet for a few days. From there, his body was placed into a box, with 6 trash bags wrapped around it. That box was then buried in the backyard, where it was left to rot for 6 months. Then, according to Lisa, Crystal had taken the box out of the backyard and to her job at a gas station, where she had discarded of it in the dumpster. But none of this information has been officially confirmed yet. This is just alleged. Lisa has additionally said that she was the one to initially become worried about Hayden's whereabouts, and she was the one to first contact authorities. Hayden's father was also selling Hayden's toys on Facebook Marketplace at the end of 2019, including things like his Nintendo DS and his iPad, things that a child of that age would not just willingly give up. Several of Dustin's family members have recently heard the horrifying rumors about the torture and neglect that Hayden was subjected to inside the home. Due to this, they no longer believe that the little boy is alive. Oddly, Dustin's aunt, Shelley Sewell, and other family members described Dustin as being kind and gentle with kids. Shelley said, "He was so sweet and good with children. Never in a million years would you think he'd put a hand on any child, let alone his own son."
I miss him dearly.
Hayden's grandfather and 3 of his aunts met with 13 Investigates to share their grief.
Oh, God.
To ask the public for help.
Just give us some answers.
And to try to make sense of how a 4.5-year-old just disappeared.
When's the last time you saw Hayden?
Christmas Eve, 2019, at our family gathering.
He was getting presents. He was excited.
That was the last time.
Where's Hayden? Nobody can come up with Hayden. The last person that was responsible for him couldn't provide any information about where he was. And that's when we realized, I think,
Something terrible had happened.
yeah.
While detectives haven't released any specific information in regards to their investigation, the Delaware County prosecutor, Eric Hoffman, has said that the information that they've gathered in Hayden's case is very disturbing and haunts him every day. He also no longer believes that Hayden is alive based on the evidence. If anyone has any information about Hayden or his disappearance, please contact the Delaware County Sheriff's Investigations Division at 765-747-7881. Well, thank you for listening to Hayden's story today. It's almost certain that Hayden is no longer alive. But I'm assuming if Dustin really did confess to these horrible things that he and his girlfriend did to his son, then hopefully police are just trying to gather enough physical evidence at this point to press charges against Crystal. Sadly, if what's being said about what happened to Hayden after he was killed is true, then it's likely he will never be found, which is incredibly heartbreaking. Before you go, don't forget to click on the link in the description box below to get the special discount that CyberGhost VPN is offering to channel users only. This application will protect your data when you browse online and gives you full access to blocked content on the internet for only $2.03 a month. Totally risk-free, so check it out. And if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and turn on your notifications too so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon, so check it out on patreon.com/awickedworld. Or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims are never forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a story you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email to awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.